Welcome to another edition of Last One Standing, and lovely to see our new logo up there, Butch.
Yeah, Paul, just got to tie a few things up with Chris over the next day or two, but he's keen and interested, and
That's good.
hopefully we start with a bang, Paul.
Lovely. Let's start with the bang with Last One Standing. Butch,
Yeah.
as the new competition starts, the tail end of the old one. They're week 13. Gary Citron and Ellen Costa, they're fighting to win the last one because the 13th week is a long time.
Unbelievable, Paul,
Unbelievable
yeah.
time. And now, Butch, we look at the new one. People will be flying in again. We're trying to get prizes for different things. And as it evolves, we'll keep people posted.
Yeah, Paul, we send the WhatsApps and obviously the clip of the show, and we'll send it to the guys, and hopefully we get some more news by the end of the week, and definitely by next week, Paul, so everybody will be informed. And
Friday not included.
no, Paul, it's a bit difficult.
Yeah.
People sending teams and so on. So we'd rather say Saturday. I don't know how many people would have been on the Palace Arsenal game anyway.
Yeah.
So Saturday we start. It's 1:30 kickoff. So I think there'll be a lot of people on Liverpool. So get your picks in early.
Good. Okay, let's go to the news. Let's get Stevie B about in the London studio. Stevie, you're about.
Steve, good morning. How you going there, Steve?
I'm fine, thanks. Ready for the new season.
Lovely, good man. Full
All
of
right.
man now, Steve. Let's just talk, quickly run through the news that happened before we go into league fixtures, Budge. The news being England's women's team.
Yeah, Paul, it's amazing how you need that little bit of luck to win the competition. They played Spain in the quarterfinal. The best two players weren't playing. They got to the final and the German top striker got injured in the warm-up.
Jeez.
So good luck to them, Paul. It's a good game.
Yeah, good
and
game.
good for England, Paul.
Yeah, they need it. They seem like a bunch of characters, those
Yeah,
girls. Well
Paul,
done to them.
good luck. I hope they get more money and they get more opportunities and the bigger clubs. Yeah,
What does Steve say?
Steve, how was it?
Obviously, it's got a huge amount of excitement, and at the peak, they said close to 20 million people were watching, which is phenomenal for women's game in the UK, and it was an 87,000 virtual capacity crowd at Wembley, which is the biggest attendance for any women's European game ever. So it sparked a lot of interest, a lot of excitement. You know what us Brits are like. We're starved of success in various sports at times, so we celebrate every win that we can. And I think good luck to them. And I think they will. Obviously there's still conversations about the inequality between what the male footballers get and the women. You can't compare them. But I think that their pay will go up. And winning the competition won't have helped that. Won't have hurt it.
Yeah, good luck to them. As I say, they were excited. And what did they charge to get in?
Well, I don't think it was that much.
Yeah.
The tickets weren't that, because they wanted to encourage families. There was a lot of young children there as well watching, and listening to people talk. It was a wonderful atmosphere.
Yeah.
When you look back at the unfortunate of those awful scenes before and during the last year's men's Euro, with thousands of people turning up without tickets and trouble. It's nice to see that you can get 87,000 people in a match in the UK in a good atmosphere. So I think that did them a lot of credit as well.
Yeah. Strange how they moved the Community Shield to Leicester's ground. I thought maybe have played it at Old Trafford, being a bigger capacity.
Yes, yeah. I was very surprised at that, because bearing in mind you've got a capacity of sort of mid 30,000s. I'm sure the demand for tickets would have been high, but the game's live on telly as well, so I guess it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. What do you think of the game?
Well, yeah, I wasn't able to watch it live in Canada, but I saw extended highlights. At the end of the day, Liverpool, edged it. They took their chances.
Yeah.
Interesting to see that the new boys scored one and Haaland didn't. And I think they made a lot of that in the press here. Haaland obviously had a decent chance and missed, but he'll score his goals. But I think it gives. It doesn't mean a lot in terms of trophies, but I think it just gives some points for Liverpool, thinking they got one over on City.
Yeah.
Going into the season. And I think there's no question. They are 1 and 2, and they're going to be 1 and 2.
Yeah, I hate to say it. I just think Liverpool may have more depth at the moment than Man City, but a few injuries here or there, so we'll see. Steve, talking of injuries, I've read there are 1 or 2. What can you update us on in major injuries going for the weekend?
Well, Leeds have got an injury crisis. You think they haven't even started the season? They've got something like 7 or 8 players out,
Okay.
including Luke Ayling, who is obviously one of the rock of their defence. They can't afford that because they've got a relatively young squad as well. Everton have been hit with injuries again. They've got a number of players out, including Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's out injured. We don't know how long for, but considering he missed most of last season when they were struggling, and with Andros Townsend out and having sold Richarlison, Everton, might find that they might be struggling to start with. Arsenal got 1 or 2 injuries. Emile Smith-Rowe is out for a little while. It's crazy. I think some of these extended tours that they have abroad, which obviously they're doing for financial reasons, obviously has has an impact on the players as well. And some of these clubs that have travelled have ended up with a few players out. So. And lastly, I guess Fulham themselves, who have got a thin squad as it is, now we will for a couple of months. He picked up an injury last week, which we could really do without. So, it's as I say, the teams have got to hit the ground running, and if you've lost 1 or 2 of your key players, then, but I think that's where the big teams manage because they've got in depth.
Yeah, Paul, I see Richarlison suspended and Basuma's injured for your game.
Basuma and Skip.
And Skip.
Yeah, 2 midfielders injured. Basuma and Skip are injured at the moment, and Richarlison, you never know with that man. You never know.
He could get injured in a stand, that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to go on to the betting odds for the weekend, and Friday night kickoff, Steve. Arsenal versus Crystal Palace Arsenal.
I think it's going to be very interesting to see if this slightly new look Arsenal are going to hit the ground running. I mean, they obviously started badly last season, they finished badly, and I think Arteta's going to want to make sure, especially with his new signings. I mean, Jesus seems to be scoring goals for fun pre-season, whether he can do it. I think Arsenal, to me, look quite good things. I think they had a shocker at Palace last season.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal, for me, are favourites to go there and get a result.
Yeah, I just wonder how much Conor Gallagher's return to Chelsea is going to affect Crystal Palace, because they're unbeaten in the last 6 at home. And a nice London derby to kick off. I agree. I think Arsenal have a good season.
The Fantasy League, 74% of the players, of the selections have been for Jesus.
Jesus just, okay.
To be in the team.
Yeah.
All right.
74%, the most out of any player, so he's doing well.
Well, remember, the old legend is in charge of Crystal Palace, Vieira. So I think it'll be a tight game, but I agree with you, Steve. Now, we've got to talk it up. Fulham Liverpool. I don't see you got a hope in hell, Steve. How do you see it?
Not at all. I mean, we haven't strengthened our defence. We brought in Bert Leno in goal. Whether he'll play, because he only actually signed this week. But, we have been after at least one strong centre-back. We've not been able to do that. And so we're basically playing against, Premiership quality forwards with a Championship defence. And I can't see anything other than a convincing Liverpool win.
Me too.
As long as we show some effort and we show that, we can hold our own against some of the teams around us, whatever team we put out, I wasn't expecting us to get the result against Liverpool. But obviously, what we can't afford to do is be humiliated at home and put in a really poor performance. So, I think we just want to see a bit of fight and a bit of effort, and a few of the new players that are going to play to see that they show something as well. But even without Diego Jota, who's out for a few weeks, Liverpool will be too.
Yeah, Liverpool are stacked. You've got a long day ahead of you. Steve, I make Aston Villa good things. I like what Gerrard's done. He's taken the captaincy away from Tyrone Mings, giving it to McGinn.
Yeah.
I know Bournemouth, I've read reports 1 or 2 could be injured. I fancy Aston Villa. How do you see it?
Yeah, no, I agree. Bournemouth have really struggled to strengthen in the summer. And they just brought in Tavernier from Middlesbrough, but they really haven't. And Bournemouth fans, I'm not very happy with the situation.
Yeah.
And I would be very surprised if Villa don't get a result there.
Yeah, I think they're good things. 12-10. I think it was 11-10 this morning I saw. I really fancied them. Now, Leeds United Wolves. I can't get my head around this game, Steve. I think there's going to be plenty of bookings because it's going to be a tight. I saw 15-10 for a 0-0 half-time draw. How do you see it going?
Yeah, well, I think it'll be a tight game. They've got injuries. I think Raul Jimenez could be out for Wolves. And again, he was out for a lot last year. Leeds have got a bit of an injury crisis. They're without Luke Ayling, Stuart Dallas. We're not sure if Patrick Bamford is going to be able to start. They really missed him last season, and obviously they haven't really replaced Calvin Phillips. So it's going to be. I think these two teams. I don't think Wolves are going to will finish as high as they maybe have done in the last couple of years. Leeds, I think, have got a difficult season ahead of them as well. So, I can't see goals, but it's very difficult to call. I think Leeds probably won't lose at home on the opening day, but I think they've got a tough few weeks ahead.
Yeah, I think the draw 24-10 is definitely a major player. Now, Leeds United had more points than every team in the Premiership by the top two last year after Christmas. I think 6-10 looks an inviting price against a Forest team who bought 1 million players, and I don't know if they're going to jump. Newcastle 6-10 for me, Steve. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Newcastle are still looking to strengthen, and I wouldn't be at all surprised that within the next few weeks before the transfer window ends, they are going to bring in one or two biggish names. I mean, they're pushing hard to try and get sort of Maddison from Leicester. We don't know about Forest, as you say. They basically bought a whole new team.
Yeah.
We don't know how they're going to gel. They've got some good players, and obviously, the standout signing for them is Jesse Lingard.
Yeah.
And obviously they've certainly added some quality there. It's going to be very interesting. I mean, Newcastle are going to be firm favourites because of the way they finished the season. Yeah. And I think their fans are going to be demanding that they push on and get into a sort of top sort of 8 to 10 place without doubt. So I fancy Newcastle. I think it'll be close, but I think even by a goal.
All right, now on to Paul's biggest game of the weekend. Tottenham Hotspur's fancy to be title contenders, according to a lot of pundits. Too good for Southampton?
I think they should be, despite obviously one or two players out injured or suspended like Richarlison. They should be too strong. Southampton, again, they haven't really strengthened. They've obviously lost Armand Brozier, who they had on loan from Chelsea. You look at who they don't look as they've really strengthened at all. I don't know if Ralph Hasenhüttl is that happy with what's going on, but I think they were worried they might lose Ward-Prowse, but they've kept him.
Yeah.
I think Tottenham, again, if Son and Kane, find that play as they finish the season, it should be Tottenham by a couple of goals.
Yeah. Paul, do you agree?
Yeah, I think we've got a good team. We've been well prepared. You never know. Southampton have stopped us a few times over the years. But at home, in front of the home crowd, I think going hard, it'll be hard to see them losing. But I think they'll win. They need to if they're going to make an impact.
Yeah, I think they're good things. Now, the next game, Everton, having lost Calvert-Lewin, I thought they could have produced a bit of an upset because Chelsea in total disarray. But after Calvert-Lewin's injury, obviously Chelsea... Dele Alli. How do you see it, Steve? I can't have either.
Well, I think this is probably a good time for Everton to play Chelsea because, I think the Chelsea team that starts at the weekend will be very different to the one that probably plays a month's time because I think there's going to be a lot of changes at Chelsea. And it's difficult to see, I'm not quite sure who his best 11 is at the moment. I don't even know if Tuchel knows himself, whereas Everton, though, haven't really strengthened, especially with looking out England. They beat them last year towards the end of the season, but I think Chelsea, irrespective of the sort of what's going on behind the scenes with the transfers, I think they probably will be too strong if most of their players are available.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Funny game.
Is Lukaku still there?
No, Lukaku's back at Inter Milan. Now, Leicester, who I saw Schmeichel sign for a French team. The last couple of days, a goalkeeper. Was it Nice? Okay, against Brentford. Now, Brentford lost Eriksen. In my opinion, if it wasn't for Eriksen, they would have definitely been in the relegation mix. This is a funny game. It points to a Leicester City, but, Brentford won't give in without a fight. How do you see it?
No, definitely. I mean, Leicester. Well, Brentford have got 1 or 2 injuries, but Leicester are. I'm a bit fearful of them a bit this year because it could be that within the next couple of weeks they could lose Tielemans and Maddison.
Yeah.
Those are key players for them in the middle. And Schmeichel has been, the rocket goal for them. So, I was surprised they'd let him go because he hasn't. Maybe it's something that he wanted to do. He's been there for many years.
Yeah.
I still fancy Leicester to win. I mean, they've still got a strong squad, but I think it will be close. As you say, Brentford losing Eriksson. They're trying to recruit the young player Damsgaard, who's at Sampdoria, but he missed a lot of last season with injury. But we saw in the Euros last year that he's quite a quality young player. So I mean, half the Danish team will end up at Brentford soon. Where he's going, but
Well, one thing about
I think it'll be a close game. But Brentford and Leicester for me.
Now the next game, I can't have Man United at 5-10, even though our pre-season form has been impressive. Hopefully the Cucurella controversy where he's going upsets the Brighton change room, but I think the odds are completely wrong here, Steve. Brighton only lost 1 game towards the end of the season. That was to Man City.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a tight game.
Brighton, as we know, the last couple of seasons have been as strong away, at times stronger away than they have been at home.
Yeah.
But as you say, Cucurella is probably going to be unavailable again because it looks like he will go, if not to City, but then more than likely to Chelsea.
Yeah.
And losing Bissouma as well. So, I'm not sure. I would say I don't think that they've strengthened. Maybe they will use that Cucurella money before the end of the window to bring a couple of players in. As you say, we're not sure what we're going to get from United. They've had a good pre-season on the whole, and it'd be interesting. Again, if they want to do anything this year, this is the sort of game they've got to win.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be pretty tough on Ten Hag if they start with a defeat up to Brighton.
Yeah.
I think the knives, will be pointing at him immediately. So, obviously he's got to get over this Ronaldo situation, and that's been a distraction in the last week or so. But I think personally, United for me, but I think it'll be pretty close.
Yeah, unbeaten in the last 9 at Old Trafford. Even we had that terrible spell towards the end of the year. 5-10 a bit short. The other game, I think this could be an upset, Paul. I watched West Ham, Man City. I think there's goals in this game, Steve. I just can't see that Man City. There's something about them. If you're going to trust Grealish and you're going to trust Phillips in the middle of the park, I don't like what I see. I know it was only a Community Shield, supposedly friendly. I don't know. I've got my doubts about the Man City here. I know the betting odds thing, I'm a complete lunatic.
You're a mate.
But I mean, West Ham gave City a tough game last season.
Yeah.
At home, West Ham are a difficult side to beat. And obviously they brought in 30 million, this new centre-half, Agard, who's out injured. But they've spent 30 million on a forward, Skimaka.
Yeah.
So, because I think that Antonio wouldn't last the season, gets injured quite a bit. But so I think it's going to be a tough game for City, and it would just be very interesting. Having let Jesus go and let Sterling go, they're obviously putting a lot of pressure on Haaland to score those goals. And as good a player as he is, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not he finds it as easy in the Premier League as he has in the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
So I think it will be a very close game. I'm not sure I can see West Ham winning it, but I think they could hold them.
Yeah. The one question. All right, Championship, Steve. Only one game. I watched of all the games that we had on here. I watched quite a few of them. Birmingham, Huddersfield. How Birmingham held on against Luton, just saw the highlights. Not impressed with Huddersfield, Steve. I fancy Birmingham are the two teams.
Well, I fancy Birmingham. I mean, they've got obviously issues behind the scenes with the ownership, but Huddersfield lost their key players basically and have not replaced them, including the manager. So I think of the two, definitely for me, Birmingham. Yeah,
Norwich too good for Wigan Athletic.
Yeah, I think they will be. They didn't have a particularly good performance or result last week, Norwich. Yeah. But I think this is the sort of game against the Wigan team that won the league, but haven't really strengthened. I think Norwich will be too strong.
Yeah, only against them's a lunchtime kickoff, but didn't deserve to lose last week, Norwich, just on the highlights. Bristol City, Sunderland. I watched Sunderland till I die last week against Coventry. They were lucky to get a point. Bristol City concede too many. Both teams to score 8.5 to 10. I think it's a certainty. But I just don't see Sunderland winning. Steve, how do you see it?
They're just promoted, eh?
No, I think Bristol will probably. I mean, they were probably a little bit lucky to lose the last-minute goal at home. I think they'll be too strong. I think it'll be close, but to me, it's a sort of game that can end up about 2-1 or 3-2, something like that.
Yeah, I agree. Really impressed with Burnley last week. Vincent Kompany, 7 new starters. They look very slick. Couldn't believe Luton didn't beat Birmingham at home, but I fancy Burnley, Steve. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think Burnley. He's changed obviously the team around, and he's had to, but he's got some good young players there as well, and I think Burnley will be too.
All right, Steve. On to the next page. My beloved Preston North End. We signed an imposter from Tottenham. He missed a runaway like you could not believe.
Which one was that?
Troy Parrott.
Did he miss a runaway?
Oh, geez, the worst thing is it rebounded to other centre forward, and he missed it as well. But home against Hull City, they sneaked in against Bristol City, but I saw the goals. Terrible deflection. Only problem is I fancy Preston, but last season's opening game at home, they beat us 4-1. But I fancy Preston,
yes,
Steve.
I remember.
How do you see it?
Well, I think you're right. I mean, Preston, are on the whole are hard to beat at home.
Yeah.
But we're not sure about Hull yet, because obviously they've certainly strengthened under the new sort of ownership. I think there'll be a tight game. I'm not sure Preston will win, but I'm not sure they'll lose. So for me, I think I'll sit on the fence with this one. Sit on the fence with a draw.
All right. QPR, Middlesbrough. I was impressed with what I saw against Middlesbrough against West Brom. They look well organised. QPR got beat last week at Blackburn 1-0.
Yeah.
Tight ground, Loftus Road. I think this is a tight game. I don't see Middlesbrough losing. How do you see it?
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll either be a draw or an away win. I mean, they've just lost Tavernier to Bournemouth, who's been one of their main players. But otherwise, I think Borough are going to be strong. I think they're going to be there or thereabouts they were last year. QPR haven't really strengthened at all, so I fancy Middlesbrough to get a result.
They might value better the weekend. On to Reading versus Cardiff. Reading got beat last week at Blackpool 1-0, conceding early. Cardiff beat Norwich. Good result. Can you see them getting another result, Cardiff?
Well, I think that's the decent odds. Reading have still got problems. Obviously, they've sold their leading goal scorer who scored for West Brom on his debut, and Cardiff have added to the squad. I think at 2-1, I think that's a very good odds. Yeah,
I agree. Now, unfortunately, the Sheffield United game against Watford, we never had it on the TV. They got beat. I've read the reports. But at home against Millwall, who beat Stoke City 2-0 last Saturday, Sheffield United, Steve, 9-10?
Just about. I think it's going to, Millwall have strengthened. They're going to be definitely pushing for a playoff place. And I'm not sure that I would make Sheffield clear favourites. I could see, and they're a hard team to beat, Millwall. They're very physical. Yeah. And they've added a bit of physicality as well to the team. I think I wouldn't be at all surprised again if it ends up in a bit of a stalemate. Sheffield United haven't strengthened. They've lost Morgan. They've lost Morgan Gibbs-White, who's gone back to his parent club. Mm-hmm. I think that I wouldn't be at all surprised if Millwall either gets something or it's a draw there.
All right. Stoke City, who always seem to be people's contenders, at home against Blackpool. Blackpool got a good result at home last week, but their away form hasn't been too great. 11-10 Stoke City?
I think so. I think at home they'll be a bit too strong. Blackpool, again, haven't strengthened at all. I fancy Stoke to win that.
All right. Swansea City, Blackburn Rovers. Swansea City 1-1 at Rotherham last week against the Blackburn Rovers team. Always hard to beat at Ewood Park. 23-10 the draw is what I fancy, Steve. What's your call?
Yeah, if I was to pick one of them, I would go for Swansea. I think that they probably should have won the game away at Rotherham last week. I think they'll be a little bit too strong for Blackburn.
All right, on to Sunday. My bet of the weekend is Coventry City to beat Rotherham.
Me too. I make Coventry
Do you
City
agree?
good thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Coventry are a decent side. They fell away last season.
Yeah.
But they did the double over Fulham and played very well in both games. But and Rotherham have come up. I thought they'd lose last week at home, but they battled away for a draw. But they've lost, as I say, they sold their 2 leading goal scorers.
Yeah.
I fancy Coventry to win by at least a goal.
Yeah, very impressive last week in their draw. And last but not least, 2 teams that
Tough
should be
game.
in the
Tough game.
in the promotion picture anyway. West Brom, Watford.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, West Brom have strengthened. They got a decent draw at Borough, and John Swift scored on his debut.
Yeah.
And Watford, they haven't. There are still 1 or 2 players that have been linked with Premier League teams that are still there. If they kept hold of Dennis or Sarr, then I think they are going to be thereabouts in the top few. So this would be a good test. It's all surprised if it ends up as a draw. Or possibly, for me, maybe Albion might just be a little bit too strong.
Yeah.
Get on the draw.
Steve, thanks for coming on the show, especially you've had your long flight from Vancouver. Now, as always, pressure time. I need your best bet and value bet, please.
Yeah, I think I'll go for Stoke City. I just think they're strong side at home.
Yeah.
I think the fans will demand bounce back after that defeat at Millwall, and I'm going to go for Cardiff as my value bet.
Cardiff,
I think that could be a little bit too strong, and they're fairly decent odds for a team that beat the favourites last weekend.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
boys are tinkering in the championship.
Championship.
What happened to the Premier? You want to see a bit first?
Yeah, I got to see a bit first. That's my thing.
I think. But also, if you look at some of the Premier League games, some of those odds. I mean, they are so stacked in favour of the big teams.
Yeah.
There's no value in.
No value.
Backing Man City at 3-10 or Liverpool at whatever it is. 1-6 or crazy odds. So there's no value in those at all. So you've got to hunt around a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, totally agree. Steve,
Lovely.
don't forget your last one standing pick. I think I know you're going to go for Liverpool to beat Fulham.
Yeah.
So if Fulham getting upset, you don't mind going out and getting a point. But
it's a win-win. I guess, if you could call it that. I'd love to go deep in the competition. So we'll see what happens.
Cheers, Steve. Thanks very much for your time.
all the best, Steve.
Yeah,
Take
have a
care.
good week.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Right, Budge, let's go and have a look at the PSL.
PSL, yeah.
This is the first week.
Starts tomorrow night.
Starts tomorrow night. Yeah,
there's
there's been a few shovels. Just let's talk about Benny McCarthy first.
Yeah.
What's your take?
Paul, not a guy, what's he doing going to Man United? But look at his strengths. He was a forward coach. He had a good record. He stuck United out of the Champions League. So that's his forte. Yeah, and you have a look, how many forward coaches are out there?
Yeah, and he did well as Amazulu. Took away
Amazulu,
second.
good coach, Paul. Because South Africa to Man United. Well, he'll have 6 for a year. If he doesn't cut it, he'll be gone.
Yeah.
So I've got nothing wrong with that. I'd rather him than a defensive coach try and teach him how to play.
Yeah. So good luck to him.
100%.
Seems a nice guy.
Yeah, he was at Hollywood. I missed him the day that I did the preview, but they all loved him.
Yeah.
He speaks his mind, Paul. That's one thing about him.
Yeah.
And he won't shut up. So good luck to him.
Benny McCarthy. Okay, let's start Cape Town City, Budge.
Paul, a big game Friday night. Sundowns, obviously the champions. They won the league. They won the cup. Paul,
Good price.
Big price, Paul. But I watched them play. Was the day or the game after they won the league. Cape Town City. Tinker's a top manager, Paul.
Yeah.
They drew both league games last year. So this will be a hard game. He'll have them fired up. That's the only problem against Sundowns. It is the first game of the season. You know what it's like. You have a million friendlies.
Top 2 teams last year.
Yep, 1 and 2. They didn't lose at home. I think it was in 13 home games. So this will be tight. I don't see Sundowns losing, but the draw is obviously a
I
player.
can see what's said. Okay, Arrows, Richards Bay, you little beauties.
Well, Richards Bay came up a few years ago. Remember, it was Thunder Royal Zulu, I think it was, and Amazulu bought them when they got relegated.
Yeah.
They only lost one of the last 20-odd games, but I fancy Arrows, Paul.
Yeah.
They're always a good team. The game's at Princess Magogo and KwaMashu. If this is a big game for Arrows, they need to have a good start, and I think 12 to 10 is a good price.
Marumo Gallants, what were they previously
Well, they got
called?
beaten. They were, I think that was the Bidvest Wits, or
Wits
I
or
think
Celtic
it was.
or
TS
someone,
TS Sporting was Highlands Park. I
Okay.
think that was. But Marumo Gallants, Paul, they got beaten in the cup final in extra time by Sundowns. Hard to beat at home. Stellenbosch, they sold my centre forward. Remember the youngster I said, looks like
Yes,
Calvin
yes.
Peterson Dupree? He's gone to Chiefs. Steve Barker done a great job, Paul. I think 19 to 10.
Is Steve still there?
Still there, yeah. 19 to 10 would be my play. I don't see Maruma Gallett's getting beat though. Pirates, what do you know?
What
The
do you
new
know,
Spanish
Sally?
coach. They'll have all this tactical
Dylan Kerr
stuff.
still there?
Dylan's at Swallows, last I read. But Pirates, Paul, they got beaten in the Confederation Cup final on penalties. Bit stiff, but
anything can happen, yeah.
Anything can happen, Paul. It draws a player.
Draws a player, definitely.
But I don't see
definitely.
Pirates getting beat.
Okay, Royal AM Kaisers.
Paul, this is at Chatsworth. This should be a good game. There's
3
not a
plays
few-
5. Royal AM finished ahead of them.
Yeah, you know, but Chiefs, Paul, Arthur Zwane and Dylan Shepherd, he's the assistant coach there.
And he's done well.
Yeah, he's done great, Dylan. So good luck to him. Paul, he signed a few players, but let's see. You know, first game, but Royal AM don't get beat in Chatsworth too often.
Yeah.
So draw a player, but let's hope. I'll be watching this game.
Who's in
Paul.
charge of Chiefs?
Arthur Zwane, ex-player, done a good job towards the end. They like him, so they give him a chance. Him and
Fair
Dylan,
enough,
so
fair
good
enough.
luck. Marisburg, Paul, you just never know with Marisburg, but at Harry Gwala, they don't get beat too often. The guy that was at Supersport United, Katana Tembo, I think he did a good job, but they had enough of him. So he's gone to Sekakuna. They were promoted last year. Another game, Paul. I think there'll be goals in this game.
Got a
Always
bit to
goals
do,
at Harry
Sekakuna.
Gwala, but Maritzburg, John Maduka, the guy from Royal AM, he's gone there. So a tight game. Yeah, the
Tight
first
game.
game, Paul, but Maritzburg and Marisburg, they don't get beat too often.
Amazulu finished 7th last year. TS Galaxy finished.
Paul, all the reports and everybody I
13th.
speak to say Amazulu are going to have a good season. Yeah, TS Galaxy. This game's at Bidvest Stadium or Mill Park, because I think TS Galaxy, I think the rugby's there, so Nelspruit. So
Okay.
we'll see what the story is. But a draw player for me there, Paul. Amazulu don't concede many. And Gavin Hunt's back at Supersport. So 11 to 10, you know Gavin, he'll have his troops fired up and organised, Paul. So
And Chipper United.
Chipper will,
Struggled
Dane
last year,
Clate,
struggled.
Dane Clate, the guy that I think won more PSL medals than anybody.
Okay.
He's at Supersport, then Pirates. So he takes over Chipper, but yeah, it's a conveyor belt that everyone's there 2 or 3 months in, they get fired. But
Yeah.
I'll be with Supersport, Paul.
Okay, let's go to our picks, Budge.
Yeah, Paul,
Soccer picks.
Soccer 6, this is the gold circle, Paul. I'm banking Liverpool to beat Fulham. I don't see Aston Villa losing at Bournemouth. I'm going the field in the Leeds United Wolverhampton Wanderers game. I've thrown the draw and looking for an upset, even though I fancy Newcastle against Notts Forest. I'm banking Tottenham to beat Southampton. And I'm going the field in the Everton-Chelsea fixture, 2-1-6.
Okay.
Onto the Pumalela Soccer 6, I'm banking Golden Arrows to beat Richards Bay. Going the field in the Maruma Gallup Stellenbosch game. I think Orlando Pirates, I need another banker, so I'm banking Pirates to beat Swallows. I'm going the field in the Royal AM Kaiser Chiefs match. Going Chelsea, win and draw at Everton. And Maritzburg United, win and draw at home against Sekakuna United, 2-1-6. Onto our Gold Circle Soccer 10, I'm banking Liverpool to beat Fulham. I've thrown the draw in with Norwich at home against Wigan Athletic. I'm banking Aston Villa to beat Bournemouth. I'm going the field in the Leeds United versus Wolves game. Banking Newcastle United to win at home against Notts Forest. Onto our second page.
Yeah.
I'm going Tottenham Hotspurs to beat Southampton. Bristol City to avoid defeat at home against Sunderland. I don't see Middlesbrough losing at Queen's Park Rangers. Chelsea win and draw at Everton, and the field in the German Bundesliga clash between Borussia Dortmund and Bayer Leverkusen, 288. On to the Soccer 13 on Saturday, I'm going Chelsea win and draw at home against Everton, banking Tottenham to beat Southampton, Newcastle to beat Notts Forest, signing with Leeds United to avoid defeat against Wolves. I think Aston Villa will be too strong for Bournemouth, going Bristol City, win and draw at home against Sunderland, banking Burnley to be too good at home against Luton Town. Second page, I'm chancing my beloved Preston North End to be too strong for Hull City at home, and going with a few away teams. Middlesbrough win and draw at QPR, Cardiff City win and draw at Reading. I don't think Swansea City will lose at home against Blackburn Rovers, and Sheffield United, I'm chancing them to avoid defeat at home against Millwall, and ending up with Stoke City to be too good for Blackpool at home, 256. On to
Now
our
the
Budgie's
best parts.
bets.
Now the best parts, Budge.
Yeah.
Give me. Okay.
Paul, I'm going Aston Villa to beat Bournemouth, Newcastle to beat Notts Forest. I'm going over 2.5 goals, and both teams to score no in the
Okay.
Fulham Liverpool game.
So
I'm going
2-0
Liverpool
to
3-0, 4-0. So
Fulham-
that was 33 to 10. Paul.
Fulham 2-0.
Well, Fulham 3-0. It has to be 3 goals. So Fulham 3-0 will be a great result.
Oh, got you.
But I doubt it, Paul. I think this is a 3-4 job. Sorry, Steve, but that's how I think it'll be. 2,700 to 200.
Okay, goals only.
Goals, I'm going Aston Villa, Leicester, Newcastle and West Ham. That's my lurker, Paul. All to score over 1.5 goals, 28 to 1. So the bet's already on.
I've got a photograph.
5,600 to 200. On to the Championship. I'm going Burnley to beat Luton, Preston to beat Hull City, and Coventry City to beat Rotherham United, and over 2.5 goals in each game. 3,400 to 200 is our bet. Both teams to score sides are Bristol City Sunderland, Reading Cardiff, Swansea Blackburn, and West Brom Watford. 2,200 to 200. Our PSL, we've got to have a dip at that. I'm going Golden Arrows to beat Richards Bay, Supersport United to beat Chipper United, and both teams to score in the Royal AM Kaizer Chiefs, Maritzburg Sekhukhune United game. 4,000 to 200. The odds in the PSL are great, Paul, even if it's tough to catch.
6 or nix.
Collis King.
Collis King.
I'm going Liverpool to beat Fulham, Tottenham to beat Southampton, Norwich to beat Wigan, Burnley to beat Luton, Coventry City to beat Rotherham, and Austin SC to beat San Jose. 3,000 to 200, Paul.
Gee, Budge. Well, let's hope we get rolling with some money here.
Yep.
Okay, that sort of sums it up. It's good to get started with our Premier League, our Championship, and our local leagues all running, Budge. But the key for me is going to be the last one standing competition. Budge will be contacting everybody. Get in, get your bets on, try and win it. A trip overseas to watch one of these sides is well worth it. Till next time, stay on side.